So, welcome to the second part of the seminar. Now we're gonna go over fight tactics a little bit. Um, this is very broad, um, and I'm working off script here. So, um, I'll start with one of the main things that I often see going wrong um, in battles is you kind of want to pick someone your own size to fight with. Even if there are like big all-out battles, you don't put the weakest player against the strongest player. For example, when let's say Van is over here from Piers and we're swarming his marches, then obviously me and Lion are good to do that. You also have like the top fighters, they're pretty good to do that. But then once you go down the line a little bit, then people are not able to really do damage anymore against such a player because the counterattack damage is just so high. And yeah, then it's better. What you can do is focus on camps, destroying frontier camps, swarming other people's marches, so that kind of the top fighters or the good fighters, the strong fighters, can kind of focus on such a high value target. Some of these players, if you look at Supplier, Van Piers, well, they're the top three, top five strongest players in the game. You know, you cannot expect to go against them and send their march home without having like a bad trade. Another thing I see very often is people swarming bases that are kind of way up their size, and most people know this, but for some reason something is not adding up with them. I see experienced players very often swarming a base, and I get it, kill points, you need like the points for the Odyssey, but at the same time, if you're getting like a really bad trade, then yeah, that's not really worth it, you know? One way to see if you're doing good is, let's say you have 5 marches swarming this gate. Now you kind of want to add up all the white numbers against the white numbers that they have over here. So if your white numbers added up are equal to the white numbers that are on the gate, then you're doing good. Because you also have more skill shots, so overall you'll do like a really good amount of damage. But if your white numbers added up that appear above your troops, you know, your 5 troops, if those added up are a lot more than the numbers on top of the gate, then you're not doing a great job. Very often I see, for example, that each of the 5 marches that a player is swarming with has a higher white number on them than the enemy does. So that means that the enemy is doing more damage to your marches than you are doing to their gate. You know, the troops are in here. Um, so yeah, always try to make sure that you kind of have a positive trade, and very often we're rallying a base, so there is really not any need to swarm it. Like you're just wasting troops and resources, and there are other ways. Then it's better to look for friendly fights or 1v1s or go to the battle arena than just slamming your troops into a gate that is just gonna give this player free kill points. You know what I mean? Well, how do you balance what is a strong base, what is not? Well, you can tap it and you can feel it a little bit. At some point, you just know based on the power, based on the stats that they have. Sometimes you're not sure, so you try and you back off, that kind of stuff. In Trebizond, we also don't allow zeroing of opponents, so don't start zeroing people. Zeroing is like attacking a gate, then pulling off so that the lightly wounded reset and then engaging again. It makes people quit, so we don't really condone that. But overall, what you kind of want to do is you want to follow the whales. You have in Trebizond you have quite a few, but the main ones obviously Lion and me. But then you also have like DJ and Rustam and quite a few others. But these are kind of the people you want to follow, especially Lion. Just be support, be there on the field. If you're able to hit frontier camps while they are fighting like top fighters, then you're also helping a lot, because the moment that Lion or me has to hit like frontier camps, then we're not hitting the enemies while we're getting a better trade from that. Now, the desert map is a bit awkward with the battle points. Normally, it's never such a struggle to reach those battle goals. The main problem that we had in this Odyssey is that we had two types of people we were fighting against. We had people with like tier 4s, a lot of tier 4s, you were not getting any points from that, and the other part was you had like really strong people with tier 9. Now, the big problem is, from what we've got, is that the points are not calculated based on the troop level, but kinda every troop above level 5 counts. So that means that if I put one tier 9 of the opponents in the hospital, or I put one tier 5 of the opponents in the hospital, I'm getting 1 point. Get it? So that is the difficult part of this Odyssey. We were often fighting against really strong tier 9s. You would only get like 1 point per troop of the enemy that was in the hospital that was above level 5. But battle tactics, follow the team. That is the most important. If you see that you're getting targeted, so you can see it by the crossfire, like with the swords, it's often very interesting to what you can kind of do. 1 second. What you can kind of do is you're fighting and you're seeing one of your troops, dropping a lot in HP. What you can do is, let's say they're targeting this troop, is you can drag it back to the rest of the team, and that way your 5 marches keep on fighting against the same opponent, while your 1 march is kind of dragging the entire fight towards an area that is better for the team, because very often you have like a upper hand over here with your team, the enemy has the upper hand over here. So when you're fighting in this middle line and you can drag the fight into your own team, that is gonna be very beneficial. A lot of it is also like, how do you manage your team? I see a lot of people, they're dragging on top of an enemy, but very often what you kind of want to do is you kind of want to drag your marches close, and then do like the correct target attack, and then by the time it's attacking, you're already selecting the next march that you want to attack. Let me see how I can kind of show that. I hope there is like some random base over here. um, yeah, sorry Netsi. But what you can do is you can kind of bring your marches so they're all attacking this, and then by the time this fight is still going, you've already selected the next target, and that way this march dies, plop, you can immediately switch to the next march, not like having your troops idle, not able to select any of the enemy marches, so you're already like a little bit on point. Another thing is, don't get caught out. Very often I see players with their castles, with their bases, like in very awkward positions. Like if you have your castle over here in the zone 1 of Wales, then there is just a really big chance that they're gonna come out and swarm your castle. When you're online, of course, then but very often, when does it happen? Yeah, when the player is out and getting like a coffee or something, just temporarily put a shield, or put your base in a safe position, because you can lose a lot if the enemy plays dirty and if they're gonna zero you. Um, but yeah, communication and fighting is key. So very often what I do is I'm not always looking at the map myself. I am looking at what is everyone sharing, locations, what is happening. But it's also important that if you're gonna share locations of certain things, that you focus on what is actually important. Now you can share like a frontier camp in your area that is over here while the fight is going on over here. Well, that's not gonna help the team. Then it's obvious when we're not fighting, then it's good that we'll take out like an enemy frontier camp over here. Very often I see people like sharing bases. Can we swarm this? And then it's a base of like 200 million power. Yeah, we're not gonna swarm that. Like at best we'll put a few rallies on it. Very often a mistake I see with rally and garrison filling is that people send long marches. People send a lot of long marches, and especially when you're in a high tense situation, you don't want to send a march over 30 seconds. Let's say my rally is over here. My rally is over here, and I'm rallying this base, and we're actively rallying. Then you're not gonna fill that rally all the way from here. What you're gonna do is you're gonna send a march close first, to right next to the rally so that you can join it. And then like right now it's already getting a little bit close, and now you can start thinking about joining it. Also don't join with like the wrong troop marches, but this is the most common problem. This is what is hurting us the most as in wartime, is that we have people and like even our experienced people, that just send marches from a minute and a half away, 2 minutes. Well, the problem is if you have a 200k march and like if you do a counter rally, that's only 1 million troops. So that means if two people send their march from 1 minute away, that means that for 1 minute you'll have 400k missing. So that means that your rally only has 600k. And by the time those two marches join, you'll have other people with long marches. So you're always fighting with half strength at best. That is the reason you really bring the marches close before you put them in a rally against a castle or a counter rally or whatever. Another thing we're often missing is catapults. Now, if you're a little bit weaker on the field and you don't have a lot of impact, one of the things you could look at is that you, for example, let's say make a catapult march, make a healer march, put that healer march on the rally, put that catapult march against the enemy gate or against the trade post. So that way you're helping a lot because you're enhancing the damage, you're giving the rally buffs, you're healing the troops in the rally. It is very helpful. But again, for Trebizond, our biggest strength is numbers. Our number one strength is numbers. But those numbers only count if we fight as a team. If we fight together and move like water, we have to move like water because we can have a fight over here, but let's say half of the team splits over to here, another half splits over here, another part is like swarming bases over there, another part is like attacking trade posts over here. Then you're split up in like 4 or 5 teams. Yeah, even if you're 2 times the strength of an opponent, then you're gonna lose the battles, huh? Because the opponent will focus on one point, first this point, they send everyone home, then they focus on this point and send everyone home. So you're kinda always, oh shit, I'm not sharing video. Huh? I am really sorry, Money. I thought